Go ahead, sir.
My name is Tom Harris. I'm the Executive Director for Western Connecticut Medical Group. The governor's budget threatens to cut $30 million from Western Connecticut Health Network. This is already on top of the $4.8 million it cut in December. He claims that with the healthcare reform, more people will be insured, and we'll make it up that way. Do you believe that the state will have everything in place in time to make this really happen?
No. And not only that, but we know that even if everything is in place, not everybody's going to be covered. And I've talked to people at Danbury Hospital, Norwalk Hospital, Stanford Hospital, Yale New Haven Hospital, and they have the numbers right there to show you that there are people who come in the hospital without any coverage, and they don't qualify for any coverage. And the hospitals are footing the bill for it. And the governor assumes that those people don't exist, and that those costs to you don't exist. And he's just wrong. He doesn't understand the issue. And what's more insulting is that the fact that hospitals care for people who come to their door, because that's what they do. And that's the world we want to live in, right? But they're getting paid 68 cents on their cost, and the governor's calling that a windfall. It just doesn't make any sense. So he has a fundamental misunderstanding, and Secretary Barnes have a fundamental misunderstanding of what it is. In talking to a lot of hospital officials, it's I guess typical of the governor, but still no less wrong that he demagogues on things like executive compensation, which amount to less than a percentage of the overall cost of the hospital. I would say to you, which I've said to others, there was that article, I think it was a Time Magazine or People Magazine, and those issues need to be addressed by hospital executives coming up and meeting with their area legislators and telling them what's true, what's not true. In the research I've done, it's pretty clear that hospitals have made a lot of, have tried to trim a lot of the fat out of their budgets and done things more efficiently. It's one of the reasons why there's a merger between Danbury and Norwalk Hospital, right? To do things more efficiently and save costs. The other thing I think people don't understand is that hospitals took a cut when they passed the Affordable Health Care Act. There was a federal cut to hospitals, I think, of over $1 billion that hospitals were supposed to find in savings. So I don't think his hospital cut's going to survive. I can't tell you what it's going to look like in the final package, whether there are some cuts or not, but we need to do a better job of telling people that he's just wrong in his numbers.
Sure, I'll continue speaking.
Let's just get people.
Do you want to get people
who
who
want to go
haven't
the first
talked
time,
yet?
but we'll come back.
I just have like kind of a comment, statement. I think I'm pretty much a statistic. Double income, my husband and I both work full time. We pay our mortgage, we pay our bills, we do the right thing, and we have for many years. Our house is devalued, we have 2 kids in college, we struggle to pay. We have a son graduating this May who probably will not come back to this area of the state because there's nothing here for him. It seems like the more we work, the less we have to show for it. And it's very frustrating. I hear the comments about the hospital, and I agree. I think our hospital and medical systems are great. My husband unfortunately had 2 heart attacks both times, even though we had insurance, and we have great insurance. We had $10,000 copay both times. And both times that he was in, the people in the room with him didn't have insurance. One was flown here from India by his family to have the same operation my husband was in for, and we had a threat of a $10,000 lien on our house. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. We're getting threatened with a $10,000 lien on our house because that was our copay, and there's somebody walking out without a bill. It's very frustrating. I feel like we do the right thing, we pay our bills, we've done what we're supposed to do, we pay for our kids' education, we save for our kids' education, and we just can't seem to stay in this state. And it's really sad to me because we've talked about moving at this point, and you're losing 2 makers in this state, 2 people who pay their taxes, because we just can't keep it up over here anymore.
Well, thank you. We want you to stay, so we're going to try to reverse the trend a little bit.
My next?
Sure, go ahead, Ben.
Hey, John, you probably remember me. Bill Stevens from Newtown. I was just wondering, since this is a budgetary question, I'll tie it into the gun issue because I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment. Have you factored into the state's budget how much revenue the state is going to lose? Because there's rumors already out in the news that Colt is probably going to leave Connecticut. So there's hundreds of jobs right there. And also the cost of enforcing the asinine legislation that you and other supposed conservative Republicans supported in Hartford. How much is it going to cost when regular gun owners get turned into Class D felons and have to be arrested, prosecuted, jailed? Their families lose their primary income earner because the dad or the mom might have incorrectly or not known which gun to register or things of that nature. Have you factored that into the budget yet?
Well, we have not factored job losses, and I hope there are no job losses. You know, Marlin Firearms is a very good firearm company that left Connecticut 3 years ago. Long before there was any conversation about changing gun laws, they left because it was too expensive to manufacture here. And that's the trend that we need to reverse, whether people are making guns or making any other product. The fact is it's far too expensive to manufacture in Connecticut, and we continue to lose those jobs. The only jobs we keep here are jobs that Governor Malloy gives hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars to get the people to stay here. In terms of enforcement, I know you disagree with my vote on the bill. There isn't a single person who today is a felon because of the passage of that law. It's just not accurate to say that. And there is nobody who will become a felon unless they knowingly violate the law. That's the way it works. There are no good, upstanding, decent, law-abiding gun owner becomes a felon because of the passage of that law.
They could if they don't comply properly, because it's very confusing.
Well, first of all, the compliance time goes all the way out to the year 2014, and there'll be plenty of time for people to understand what they'll have to do. Secondly, for example, one of the more controversial pieces that people will have to go online to the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection and declare the magazines they have. Should someone make a mistake and it's discovered, it's not a crime, it's an infraction. So I think you can dislike the bill, and I respect that, but it is just not true that law-abiding citizens became felons overnight with the passage of that law.
What if they
One, on all of our websites, we have something called frequently asked questions, where we ask and answer all those questions, and we're constantly updating them as we get calls from people on questions. Secondly, I know that a lot of the gun shops, whether it's a big place like Cabela's or a small place in New Milford like Shooters, they will know the answers to all these, and they obviously have great relationships with their customers, and will make sure that's everything followed. The state went through this in 1993. The state of Connecticut, none of us were in the legislature at the time, decided in '93 to pass a law defining certain semi-automatic rifles as quote-unquote assault weapons. And I don't believe there was anybody arrested for making a mistake and not knowing whether they should register their rifle. So the expansion of that definition follows exactly what happened in '93, and I think whether it's through our offices, whether it's through local gun stores, gun clubs, or Department of Public Safety and their websites, everybody will have an understanding of what they need to do.
When we get back to the budget, talk about gun control later. I don't think that there's an answer to this thing, because you got a governor who cares less about anything. And I'm not a small business operator or anything, but I've worked every day of my life since I was 14 years old. I never collected a day's unemployment. I go shopping with my wife. I don't love to do that. But I've seen her go back 3 aisles over to find a coupon that she lost to save money. And people, in homeowners and people and families and everything, they do what they have to do to manage their budget. And the state and the federal can't manage to do that. I think one of the things is, when people are working with budgets, you're penalized if you don't spend all the money. So at the end of the year, you're splashing his money all over the place. I think you could control the spending a little better if you gave somebody a benefit for controlling their budget, you know? But we could talk about this budget from now on, and as long as we got that clown in Hartford, it's never gonna work.